Okay, so here we are now in the ARC platform. Now we're in Lumin Strength over here on the right-hand side, and this is our main program page that has a couple of sample programs in here that I have been playing around with. Now, this is very simple to use and utilize. We just simply select new program in the top right-hand corner. From here, we're gonna name this Rugby League Fullback Youth 4-day split. We have to select a start date, so let's utilize this upcoming week being November the 18th. Now, this is some really good ways that Lumin has integrated, I guess, making athletes a bit more self-sufficient around the program. So the self-paced program is basically, you don't have to assign any day of the week. The athletes can complete those sessions within the week at any given time. It doesn't have to be on, say, a set day or a set frequency as such like that. Great for athletes that are self-sufficient and or if you don't have, say, set periodized programs. In our case, we do. So we're gonna go down to this next one here, which is program type. So we can have one of two options. We can have periodized, so we can organize and track our session into phases and blocks. Now, obviously this is fantastic if we are doing more of a macro program and having large block-based program styles. In this scenario, we're just gonna do a one-off program, and the one that I prefer, which is freeform. So we jump in here, and then this is very simple and very easy to use. Takes us to our session planner, and we literally start planning. So one thing that I do really like is we can come into here and we can actually start with an exercise template. Now, for me, I don't typically use 5 sets, and I don't like a warm-up set here, which is what it's default setting to. So one thing we do is we get rid of that straight away and we turn that into a normal working set. I delete 1 RM percentage because, again, that's not something that I'm really looking at this particular time. And I'm gonna drop everything down to 3 sets, as that's pretty easy to start with. The other thing that I will look at adding in here is a weight. Now, again, obviously we can delete and add these as needed, but for me, majority of the exercise and movements I look at will have this, so we're gonna start with that. Okie dokie. We've got that there. Obviously this auto populates to week 1 for obvious reasons. We can have compact view, we can have expanded view. Now I'll go through that probably when we have a little bit more. We could copy a template from a previous program, which again, obviously saves a lot of time. And then this bulk update feature is essentially, we can do a bunch of these movements through here, a bunch of these targets or measurements through here, and we can filter by how many weeks, exercises, sessions, etc. Again, for now, we don't really need to worry about that. Here we do have week 1. So let's add in our first session being session 1. One thing that I do love here is obviously the ability to rename the days or the session types. So session 1 is going to be strength and power day 1, Monday, save. Beautiful. Okay. From here, this is our, I guess, where we add a new exercise or movement. So there's going to be some in here that I've already added. There's going to be some in here that we're going to add along the way. Now, we did mention that this particular athlete had quite a poor RSI. So something we're going to look at incorporating for that is going to be some pogo-based variation. So one thing I do love for athletes that are relatively low training age but need to get some extra pogo work in is I actually love banded pogos. So here, banded pogo, I don't think it's in here, which is absolutely perfect because that means we're going to add it in. So banded pogo, new exercise. We then go, what sort of type exercise is it? Is it strength, stretch, cardio, plyometric, or other? In this scenario, it is plyometric. Now, this is one of my favorite features of Lumin Strength is the AI Autofill, and that is pretty good for me. We don't want to add this at ankle height though, because obviously this is just spitting out a pretty general thing for the time being. This is getting more and more intelligent as time goes on. So we're going to add the resistance band to a rack. We don't want the band around our ankles with the band in your arms or hands. The other thing that we can do, which I'm not going to do right now, but we can attach any YouTube or Vimeo URLs here. So then when that comes up into the athletes program, they actually have a visual to do that as well. And that simply sits within the app itself. So nice and simple. Okay, so this is our first exercise here. We're going to go slightly higher volume. So 15. Why is it doing that? That's me, not it. 15. We delete the weight. And here we can add any notes if we needed to. So for example, if I did want to add a note, it would be think Poppy off the ground, draw toes to the sky. Okay, and we save and add that, and that's our first exercise added in there. Now with that, we are going to add a box jump, nice and simple. There we go. Here, this is where I like to sequence things, as I mentioned here. This is our velocity block. We like to keep them all in the same sequence. So we're going to go 6, 6, 6, save. And now it automatically identifies that because we've labeled it the letter A, it's a superset. And what we want to do as we come in here is we just want to edit that name. So we now change that to velocity block, save, and there we go. Okay, the only other thing was here is I left the weight on. So you just want to make sure that again, when you're doing that, if it doesn't have a weight, that you're just double checking that. So that is our velocity block taken care of there on our first day. Now we dive into our key lifts. Now our key lift here, we mentioned had poor posterior chain strength. So BB, RDL. And we will AI autofill this one here because again, when it's a relatively simple movement, not say like a banded pogo, we get a nice, simple, straight to the point description, which works absolutely perfect. We're gonna actually add another set here. We're gonna do a 4x8. We've got our weight set, away we go. Now I have mentioned this a few times, but when I'm dealing with youth athletes, I love incorporating low level lumbar pelvic control movements like a banded dead bug here, and we're going to go 10 on each side. Now again, obviously with a band we don't have any weight, but I do want to add some rest. So here we're going to rest 90 seconds after each one, and even though we have 4 of our main lifts with the RDL, we're just going to do 3 in regards to our sequencing partner with it, and I have bombed that needs to be a B instead. Okay, we've got our rest, and this is the beautiful thing is even sometimes forget to add the rest in here. So we go 60 just for the sake of the session. Beautiful. I'm gonna rename this to strength block, save, and there we go. Okay, moving on, we are going to go to a dumbbell rear foot elevated goblet split squat. A nice unilateral option here after doing a bilateral posterior chain movement. 8 each side's absolutely fine, and away we go. From here, we're going to add an upper body lift to it, and we are going to go a pull up. We'll go weighted because he's a strong lad. We'll go 8 reps. And then here, our target, we are going to add some rest, sticking to that 90 seconds. And again, that has identified that as a superset. So this is our strength block or strength block 2. Okay. So from here, we're gonna do 2 full body days, as I mentioned there in the first video. So we are now going to look at a horizontal press. So we are gonna go a weighted push up. Which isn't in there, so we simply add it in. Again, let's AI autofill this, so then that way it's all done. Beautiful, thanks for coming. We are gonna go 12 reps and save. There we go, beautiful. With a DB bent over row. Now, the good thing about Lumin is it comes preset with a large exercise library. If that is something you're interested in, you can keep that. And if you don't like it, you can actually choose to have that completely blank and you add your own exercises in. I guess it's positive and negative, pros and cons, however you want to look at it. In my opinion, the pros are obviously they're all in there. Some of them have descriptions already there, so it can save you a lot of time. The negative is in a larger facility, or if you've got multiple coaches or in a team setting, it's really important to have clear categorization for your exercises to make sure that everybody's doing the right thing or everyone's doing the same consistent thing, especially if we're looking at rehab athletes. So for me, as you see here, how I just categorize this one here, it's dumbbell, so the implement, and then the movement itself. And that's how I like to categorize my exercises. Sometimes, you might miss it ever so slightly, but that's typically what we try to go for myself in the way that I like to, categorize or label my exercises. And then here, for this last one, we're just gonna do a prone, WTY, just for a little bit of shoulder resilience. We're gonna save that. So 4 reps. And then in our notes, we're gonna write 4 reps in each position. We save. Beautiful, that's our superset. As I said, I can't spell to save myself. And then there we go, God bless. Autocorrect. Okay, that's our accessory block. Now the last thing we need to add here is just our resilience block. So we did mention again he had quite poor hamstring strength, so let's go Bosch base isometric hold. Now here we can leave the weight, but we don't want reps, we actually want time. So we're looking at a 20-second hold and then add weight if required. We need to make sure that goes into that previous block. There we go. And then something notoriously overlooked by younger athletes is targeted calf work. So 8, go, 8, wow. And then, well, we got close to getting that right. If it auto-corrects, we're pretty good. Great. So there we go. That there, based on our needs analysis we went through in the very first video, we now have a day 1 of the program built out in Lumin Strength. So we have our strength and power day 1. Again, all we would do for our strength and power day 2 is copy this. We would change our velocity block to something a little bit different. With our velocity block, I do like having our lower amplitude plyometrics before our high amplitude plyometrics, as you can see here. On this day, we've gone a hip dominant lift. Therefore, on our day 2, we're probably going to look at a knee dominant lift being our main lower body lift. And then our accessory lift here, we've gone a unilateral or unilateral dominant based option. Therefore, we'll probably do the same or something similar on day 2, but for hip dominant, just to keep it nice and simple and straightforward. We went weighted pull-ups on this day. I'd probably look at a horizontal press on day 2, and then here we can go through and see our accessory block is pretty much just whatever's needed, just to add in a little bit here. Now, and this is the thing when you go through and review, in this here, I haven't added a target for rest, so I'm gonna add that in here now. 60, 60, and 60. So it's always important to go through and review before you press publish. And same deal here, add target, rest, 60, 60, and 60. Done. For now, that's where we're gonna leave the program. But if we needed to, all we do from there to save it, even though we have our auto save function, and to actually publish it is just simply press that button and away we go. Simple as that. All right, we're gonna catch you in the next video where we will go through programming for the field.